Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. We are right now discussing Canto 1, Chapter 10. And in this, we have discussed up to Shloka number 32, which is which is here. अजातशत्रु कृतानां गोपिताय मधुद्विषः परेभ्य शङ्कित स्नेहात् प्रयुक्त चतुरङ्गिनी. So here, Maharaj Yudhishthira, although no one's enemy, engaged four divisions of defense: horse, elephant, chariot, and army to accompany Lord Krishna, the enemy of Asuras. The Maharaj did this because of the enemy and also out of affection for the Lord. So just to have a recap, what we did. So Sutta Goswami is explaining the departure of Krishna from Hastinapur, the activities of Krishna after the Mahabharata war in Hastinapur has come to an end. Therefore, Krishna is leaving. But this emotion of separation of Krishna from his devotees is very interesting. So we saw how different devotees are approaching Krishna and they are expressing his love. The ladies are going on the top of the roof and they are talking about Krishna, and like that. It's a very interesting thing. So Krishna is one of the descriptions here is talking about the omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience of Krishna. So we can see that in his Purushavtaras of Krishna, and the way the devotees are describing Krishna, it is very much liked by Krishna. Krishna does not like Purusha Sutta prayers. He will like the description of devotees about him. That is why Srimad Bhagavatam has a higher uh, higher preference in Kali Yuga because Lord Krishna likes Srimad Bhagavatam because it is description of devotees about Krishna. So we looked into shlokas from 1 to 6, 1 to 31. We looked into this. Now in shloka number 32 to 36, um, it is more on Lord moving to Dwaraka. So when Lord is moving to Dwaraka, there is Yudhishthira is accompanying him to some distance, and then in sloka number 34 and 36, um, Lord continues his journey. So we will look into this. This discussion is going to be very short because before we take up chapter 11, it is important for us to complete chapter 10, and we cannot start chapter 11 today, but we will try to complete chapter 10 with this description. So let us go into the shloka number 10, which is shloka number 32. Maharaj Yudhishthira, although no one's enemy, engaged four divisions. So Krishna, having fought the Kurukshetra war, there may be some enemies still left out who may be associated with the kings who have been killed in the war. So to protect, so Prabhupada is writing here. So to protect Krishna, Krishna is everyone's friend and well-wisher. Yet there were asuras who were by nature envious to the Lord. So out of fear of attack from others and out of affection also, he engaged all varieties of defensive forces as bodyguards of Lord Krishna. If required, Lord Krishna himself was sufficient to defend himself from attack of others who counted the Lord as their enemies. But still he accepted all arrangements made by Yudhishthira. He could not disobey the king, who was his elder son. So it is same like the boga that we prepare for Krishna is actually Krishna's wealth. We offer Krishna's wealth in the form of nicely prepared food, and Krishna accepts it when we offer it with love. And then when we partake that remnants, we become free from sins. So it is the same principle here which he is explaining. Um, then Prabhupada is mentioning one more thing. The Lord plays the part of a subordinate in his transcendental sporting. Thus, sometimes he puts himself in care of Yashoda Mata. Specifically, Yashoda Mata's Leela are very bewildering because Lord controls the entire material manifestation and also the entire spiritual world. How or how God can be subordinate to someone, how God becomes afraid of a lady and runs fearing her chastisement. So that is why it is bewildering. The Lord's pastimes are bewildering. That is why Lord Krishna's pastimes are completely different from pastimes of Lord Narayana. Lord Krishna's pastimes, actually, there are in Nectar of Devotion, there are 64 qualities of Krishna, of Supreme Personality of Godhead, which are mentioned. In that first 60 qualities describe the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, Lord, being Supreme Personality of Godhead, has unlimited, infinite qualities, but all those qualities can be brought within the 60 qualities. However, he is slightly this. However, Narayana is slightly different from Krishna, or rather, I put it, Krishna is slightly different from Narayana uh, because Krishna has four other qualities. One is Prema Madhuri, Rupa Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, and Venu Madhuri. Krishna has flute as one of the things that he holds in hand, which is not there in Narayana. And Krishna has a three banga form, whereas Narayana has a straight form. Then Leela. Narayana doesn't run away from the being afraid of his mother. In fact, we don't see a specific pastime like Narayana as mother. So the Leela are bewildering. So we can see that Brahma, who prayed to Narayana to appear in this world to protect earth, uh, got bewildered. How can my father, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, can run around in the forest of Vrindavana along with the Gopas and herd the cows, herd the calves? How is it possible? So he got bewildered. Therefore, Krishna's pastimes are completely different. It is Leela Madhuri. It is very sweet. Rupa Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, Venu Madhuri, and yeah, Rupa, Leela, Venu, and Rupa, Leela, Venu. Yeah, okay. So, but anyway, missed one important thing. Rupa. Venu, Rupa, Venu, and yeah, okay, let us see if I can get that back. So this Leela of Krishna is transcendental. It is transcendental. Prema Madhuri, Rupa, Leela, Venu, and Prema. The love of Krishna and his devotees are completely different. So, which we do not find in Narayana form. Love of Yashoda Mata to Krishna is not found in any other Leelas. In Ram Leela we find, but we don't hear Rama running away from his mother. So these four qualities are completely different. So the transcendental Leela or the pastimes of the Lord is very beautiful. The basic principle for the transcendental exchanges between Lord and his devotees is exhibited to enjoy a transcendental bliss for which there is no comparison, even at the level of Brahmananda. So Lord Brahma cannot understand this. Also, Brahmananda attaining the impersonal form of Krishna, no, impersonal form of Supreme Personality of Godhead also cannot, we cannot find it. It is beyond that. Okay, so with this note, let us go to the next shloka, shloka number 33. अत दुरागतान् सौरी कौरवान् विरा आतुरान् सन्निवार्ताय हृदं स्निग्धान् परायात् स्वनगरीं प्रियै. Out of profound affection for Lord Krishna, the Pandavas over of Kuru dynasties accompanied him a considerable distance to see him off. They were overwhelmed with the thought of future separation. The Lord, however, persuaded them to return home, and he proceeded towards Dwaraka with his dear companions. So there is a feeling of separation. So now we are going to discuss about the path which Krishna takes. Kuru Jangala Panchalan Surasenan Sayamunan Brahmavartam Kurukshetram Atsayan Saraswatan Ata Marudhanvan Atikramya Sauvira Virayo Paran Anarthan Bhargavo Pagaj Tarantava Managvivu. O Shaunaka, the Lord then proceeded towards Kurujangalam, Panchala, Surasena, the land of the bank of river Yamuna, Brahmavarta, Kurukshetra, Matsya, Saraswata, the province of the desert, and the land of scanty water. After crossing these provinces, he gradually reached Sauvira and Abira provinces. Then, west of this reached Dwaraka at the last. So here we see the tract. Now Prabhupada is giving an brief description. The provinces passed over by the Lord in those days were differently named, but the direction given is sufficient to indicate that he traveled through Delhi, Punjab, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Saurashtra, and Gujarat. So here, Kurujangala, Panchala, Saurashena, the land on the so he is Delhi, then he travels to Punjab, then Rajasthan, which is the land of desert, then Madhya Pradesh, Saurashtra, and Gujarat, and at last reach his province at Dwaraka. We do not gain any profit simply by researching the analogous provinces of those days up to now. But it appears that the desert of Rajasthan and the provinces of scanty water like Madhya Pradesh were present even 1,000 years ago. The theory of soil desert developed in recent years is not supported by statements of Bhagavatam. We may leave the matter for expert geologists to research because changing universes has different phases of geological development. We are satisfied that Lord has reached his own provinces, Dwaraka Dhama from Kuru provinces. Kurukshetra continues to exist since the Vedic age, and it is sheer foolishness when interpreters ignore or deny the existence of Kurukshetra. So, This is the most important thing. We are satisfied that Lord has reached the his own provinces, Dwaraka from Guru provinces. If we are not so particular about these details, we are not particular about these details, but we are satisfied that Krishna has reached his destination. For us, we are worried only. We want to know only when whether Krishna has reached his destination or not. And these are all details um, which is not so important for us, because as a devotee we need to focus on what is important for us. So for us it is important to understand that we are not this body, we are soul, and we are related to Krishna. Now Krishna, the more details of Krishna are given in more details of Krishna is given in Bhagavad Gita at a preliminary level. So Krishna is telling Janma Karma Cha Me Divya Evam Yo Veti Tattvata Tekta Devam Punarjanma Naiti Ma Veti Sarjana. So we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam to understand Janma and Karma of Krishna. So when Janma and Karma of Krishna are known, then there is no birth. So why taking birth is a problem? So for that, we need to understand that we are suffering in this problem. And there are four main reasons why we are suffering. That is birth, death, old age, and disease. And why we are taking birth? So that is related with our karma. And how to get free from birth and death? We need to ensure that the karma does not bind us. How does the karma does not bind us? Karma does not bind us when we work for Krishna. So this understanding is required, and this understanding is required for us to get into the preliminary aspects of devotional service. I don't say preliminary aspects, it is the devotional service, because hearing, chanting, which is the basis which gives entry for a person to devote in devotional service, is also required when the person is advanced in devotional service. So, hearing and chanting is very important, and when we start hearing and chanting, we feel that we have to do it more and more so that we satisfy Krishna. And when we satisfy Krishna, we also become happy with that. And slowly, when we reach Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, the attachment for material things slowly, we lose interest in material things and we focus on activities relating to Krishna. So when we get that mindset, we will focus on what Krishna is doing. And he started from Dwaraka, he started from Hastinapur. Did he reach Dwaraka or not? That will be our focus. So as a devotee, we should focus on Krishna. So that is what is important. He might have traveled into different lands, but if as he reached safe, that is what is very important. And this tendency to know details sometimes is of no use, especially when it is in the material plane. Piyate iti maya. Anything that can be measured is a source of um, Maya, the source of illusion. So we cannot implement that mindset of measuring things or knowing in detail when it comes to Krishna. We need to, that is why Srila Prabhupada's purports are very important. What is given in the Prabhupada's purport, if you are able to understand that, that is enough for us to progress in our devotional life. Okay, with this note, let us go to the next shloka. Shloka number 36. Tatra tatra ha tara tatrai er ari pratyu dyatara Anaha Sayam Veje Disham Paschat Gavisto Gam Gatastata. On his journey through these provinces, he was welcomed, worshipped, and given various presentations. In the evening, in all places, Lord suspended his journey to perform evening rites. This was regularly observed. You see that Krishna is following a schedule, is following a sadhana. So it is important for us to also um, also follow things which Krishna has followed. So now there are two things. One is Anukaran and another is Anushara. So here we need to understand whether we are copying or we are following, whether we are imitating or we are following. When we do something which is helping us in our devotional life, that is, we need to question whether this activity of Krishna, when I copy slash follow, does it help me in progressing in my devotional service? If it is yes, then that is follow. If I do something which Krishna has done, that is follow slash copy, if it is not helping in my devotional service, then I am uh, uh, I am trying to imitate Krishna. Example: Krishna takes surrenders to a spiritual master for gaining knowledge. So surrendering to spiritual master, that is the activity which Krishna has done. So if I imitate slash follow this, will it help in will it help me in devotional service? So we can easily understand yes. And is it told by Srila Prabhupada? Yes. So then that is helping me in improving my devotional service. So there is a following. Krishna married 16,108 women or Matajis. Huh? So he married them. So if I do that, is it follow or imitation? It is imitation because it is not in line with current scenario. It is not practical also. So only a person who is very strong, who is capable of handling such a family burden, can only do this activity. Therefore, it becomes an imitation. Even if you marry one or two or three, it is an imitation because our aim in this world is to wind up things in this world and go back home and go back to God. Having more material attachments will drag us in this material world because we will have very less time for our spiritual advancement. Therefore, it is important that we have limited material attachments, and so that we have enough time for spiritual life. So it is easy for us to complete our material responsibilities in a best way possible when we have limited material attachments. We can complete all our material responsibilities and get into full-time spiritual life faster. But if we have multiple material attachments, then for us to come out of the material attachments by by closing them in a nice way becomes very difficult, and therefore we will not have time for spiritual life at the end of our life. Maybe our life may end even before we complete our material responsibilities in a nice way. That is why we should limit our material responsibilities. Therefore, what is helping us in progressing in spiritual life when we look at Krishna's pastime? If that following that activity of Krishna, if we advance in spiritual life, we should follow it. Otherwise, we should. It is imitation. We should not imitate Krishna. So typically, we Krishna used to get up early in the morning. So getting up early in the morning is very important. He used to engage in mantra meditation, mantra chanting. So we have to do this. He used to do proper deity worship in his family life. That we should do. Then he used to partake food which is offered to deities. So we should do that. He used to take care of his children and his wife. So that we should do. And then he used to go to the assembly, assembly of Yadavas and engage in this activity. So, as a person born in Kali Yuga, we have to we may have probably engage in some sort of activity to earn a simple livelihood for our family. So that one we need to carry out, and with the aim that we will finish off all our material attachments and come back. So we must have a earning which will ensure that our dependents are taken care. And then we should getting up early in the morning, we should have our own sadhana, we should support the proper livelihood for our dependents, and then take food offered to Krishna. So when we do this, we have a fixed sadhana. It is like Krishna, following in footsteps of Krishna. So yeah. Now, Prabhupada is mentioning one interesting point here. There are certain philosophical speculation that even the Lord is under obligations of fruitive action, but actually this is not the case. He does not depend on action of any good or bad work. Since Lord is absolute, everything done by him is good for everyone. But when he descends to he acts for protection of the devotees and for annihilation of impious devotees. So here Krishna is Prabhupada is quoting the shloka from fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजामि परित्राणाय साधना protection of devotees विनाशाय च दुष्कृता dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge. That is what Krishna is telling in chapter 4. Although he has no obligatory duty, still he does everything so that others may follow. So we should follow in his footsteps. One must act properly himself and teach the same to others. Otherwise, no one will accept one's blind teaching. That is why Krishna does things in life. And he sets us a very good example. He is himself an awarder of fruity desserts. So that is one interesting thing. Then here, Lord in human society does what is duty for anyone. But sometimes he does something extraordinary and that not to be imitated by living. His acts of evening prayer, as stated herein, must be followed, but it's not possible for him to follow his mountain lifting or dancing with gopis. One cannot imitate the sun, which can exhaust water even from the filthy place. The most powerful can do something which is all good, but for our limitation, such acts will put us in endless difficulties. Therefore, in all actions, the experienced guide, the spiritual master, who is manifested mercy of Lord, should always be consulted and path of progress to be assured. So we must take help, advice of devotees whenever we are making some major decisions in our life, whether we should follow or whether we are following or we are imitating. So this is very interesting. We'll just do the recap of this chapter and then close. So now we are still in this part. Parikshit Maharaj is birth, activities, and renunciation. This part we are yet to hear the activities of Parikshit Maharaj. His birth is explained till now. And in this chapter, we see that Maharaj Yudhishthir's kingdom is established, and Krishna is all attractive, and this attraction is um, makes many people is devotees. So that is the most important thing. And then we have Lord Krishna is appropriately honored by all. Um, and then people, Hastinapur ladies are discussing Lord's glories. So Lord proceeds to Dwarka. So Krishna resided in Hastinapur for a few months to pacify his relatives and to please his sister Shubhadra, who was married to Arjuna. And Shubhadra lost his son Abhimanyu. So he wanted to pacify her. Krishna wanted to pacify Subhadra. And he then prepared to leave to Dwaraka. So Pandavas, Draupadi, Subhadra, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, and many others were not able to control themselves due to imminent separation from Krishna. So Pandavas had intimately associated with Krishna during all these years. Now, the prospect of losing his association caused this pain. So, with their hearts melting in affection, the women tried to control their tears. The ladies gathered on the rooftops and lovingly discussed about the qualities and activities of Krishna. And these topics were very pleasing than Vedic hymns. So Pandavas finally bid farewell to Krishna with great difficulty as Krishna departed. This shows the spiritual love cannot be measured by material calculation. It shows that um, the feelings that a person gets, that is what will show our love for Krishna. That is what shows the spiritual love of a devotee on Krishna. So yeah, so we will discuss the chapter 11 in our subsequent classes. Okay, so thank you very much. Achakalpatarvisha kripasintu भयविच पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे कृष्ण।